My name is Eunice Chewy and I've been tattooing for 23 years. My tattoo journey actually started quite accidentally. I've never thought of becoming a tattoo artist until I got offered the job of an apprentice. I was living in Singapore at the time and I just came back from Australia with like a degree in fine arts. Being in Singapore, fine art is not really quite appreciated, so I found myself unemployed and hanging out in this park, funnily called the Tattoo Park. The owner knows me really well because I'm there like almost every day because I don't have a job, and he knows that I've got nothing to do, but I'm well versed in with arts, and he was going to set up a tattoo studio next door. And I was like, oh, would you like to become an apprentice? I was like, well, I'm not really sure, but I got nothing to do, so I'm just gonna give it a go. And 23 years later, so here I am. I knew that I wanted to be an artist of some form. To me, tattooing is just a difference with like media. So the skin is my media, and it allows me to just draw all day long, which is like my ideal dream job, right? So it worked out pretty well. My inspiration are actually my clients. So I love the connection with my clients, and to me it's a collaboration. So they are my muse. Playing on what they are after actually really inspire me to, especially after knowing the background story of each individual tattoo, really inspire me to do an even better job for them. The process that my clients broach with me actually always starts with a cup of tea and a chat. I think it's important for the client to first of all meet the artist, and then we get to know each other, because I don't think like every client is suitable for every artist. So we need to have a certain synergy going on to be able to work well together and to play the best of each of our strengths, and for me to like, do a good job for them. It's my job, as I feel, as an artist, to then pull this information out of them and make sure that they are very sure about the direction that we are going and really comfortable with it before we move forwards. Because I believe that tattoos are for life. If I am able to provide a tattoo that the client is going to find meaning and beauty all their life, then I think my job is accomplished. I do have a lot of clients who come in and they are, especially for first timers, where they are not sure about the process of the entire tattoo itself. It's almost like it's a myth. I just need to go and find out what's going on at the moment in time. I always have consultation with my clients, and that really, really helps in like putting a lot of clients at ease of any sort of anxiety issues that they might have. When my clients have like needle phobia, and they are not really sure, what I will tell them is that we can have like a little trial run. And if they feel that the trial run, they don't do well with it and they want to stop, that's perfectly fine. The trial run basically consists of like, it's the whole process of tattooing, but then without ink. So I just like go a few lines without ink, and I'll just be like, how do you feel about that? Part of like the creative process of designing for clients is about understanding what they want. So I think like having a good listening ear is always helpful, and also it helps that we have something in common, so I understand their perspective and they kind of understand where I'm coming from as well. After knowing their story and what they're trying to recreate, sometimes I get them to do a little doodle for me. It's not like a masterpiece or any sorts, but it could be like stick man with like little shapes and like arrow pointing to it, and just like describing like what that actually means. These are for clients who have like very specific idea about how they want their tattoo to look. So having like this really simple image allows me a little peek into their mind about what it is that they really want. Personally, for my clients, they usually come to me for unique pieces. I do have clients who come to me with like a picture of Google and go like, oh, can I have exactly this on me? A lot of times I would say no, especially if it's a really small piece and like a heart with a name, for example. There's not a lot of ways you can do a heart with a name. So in that sort of sense, yes, I would do it. At the point of time, I would like try to talk them into like sort of dig it out of them what it is that you're trying to achieve from this piece, and then try to like produce something original. Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, if it was a very beautiful individual piece that was there, I have to say no, unfortunately, because of like copyright issues and also respect for the artists who have produced that in the first place. The most enjoyable part about doing any tattoo is meeting the client and having that initial consultation and trying to build that connection. It's so intimate and it's so personal, and if that is something that a person has to carry for their lifetime, I think it's worth the effort, the extra effort to try to get to know them better. In fact, a lot of my clients end up to become my really good personal friends just because we spend so many hours together in a chair talking about everything, and a lot of times they are talking to me about like, you know, what's going on in their life, and I know them so well then it's really quite difficult not to become friends really. The more you know a client better, the better your design suits your client as well. I do not have any techniques or tools specifically that I like, because my whole point of doing tattoos is about the collaboration. Different tools for different job, the right one for the right job. So I have to utilize all of them, but so I don't really have a preference per se. Personally, I try to stay away from trends, but I do find them inspiring in a sort of sense that it might be something that I have not thought of before, or a technique that I have not explored before. I will use them as inspiration, and when a client comes in and says that I just want this trendy stuff, I will advise them as in like to tell them that, you know, it is a trend, but then trend is fine as long as there's meaning attached to like I think the design, then they'll likely love it for the rest of their life. Just be really honest and transparent about like what is the consequences. If you have a lot of tattoos already, yes, I'll consider it. If it is something really extreme and somebody wants it done just because it's trendy, sometimes I will have to say no. I try to set up the studio environment to be as calming and as peaceful for, especially when I get clients who are a little bit anxious, like first timers. On the perspective of the clients though, which a lot of clients tell me, is that the clean walls are like super boring to them because they're having to sit in the chair for hours on end staring at the blank space. And it's like, luckily we all have like a portable entertainment system in our pockets now, so that kind of like served us well. One of my most memorable tattoo, I don't know, is it for me or is it also for them? But it's about, so there's this lady that came into the studio and she has varicose veins that developed while she was pregnant, and ever since then she has been like really self-conscious about it. She came to me and we had a little chat about it, and the patch of veins looked like a heart shape and it was on her thigh. So we decided to do something sort of like, it's like a design, but we didn't do anything to cover up the veins. I just like define the heart and then add things around it to beautify it, and now to become like a piece to commemorate like her childbirth and her motherhood. Later on, she told me that she hasn't worn a swimsuit for the last 15 years because of that varicose veins, and that year, for the first time in 15 years, that summer, she went to a beach holiday and showed it all off, and she was saying that how much compliments she got from like that tattoo, and that brought me so much joy to hear that. Aftercare of a tattoo actually begins before the tattoo even starts by using like really quality materials and making sure that everything that we are using that the clients are not allergic to, and using that will put us in the lead of like having like really nice tattoo, of the tattoo healing really nicely. After the tattoo, we usually sort of run through it, the aftercare with them as well, introduce them to like the different care creams, and if they have any question at that point in time, it will be also, we'll also answer it then. So whenever they have any questions, I always tell them like just ping me a message or give me a call and I'll be happy to answer everything. To connect with other artists, for tattoo artists, conventions is a really good one because you see all these like amazing tattoo artists, and most of them are really quite friendly as well when they're in conventions, and you're able to talk to them and communicate with them and to keep keep up with like the ongoings and what's new and what's happening. I evolve better when I just like taking art as a whole rather than being in the pocket of just say the tattooing industry. I don't want to pocket myself as like a sculptor or like a tattooist or like a printmaker. There's so many elements of it, and every single element gives you a different sort of feedback. And I find that that's the best way for me to evolve my art, by looking at everything all at once rather than just focusing on specifically tattoos. For clients who are really unsure about their tattoo, whether it's a design, whether it's placement, or even like having a tattoo at all, you have to break it to them really gently. It was like, first of all, why do you want the tattoo? Is it just because everybody has a tattoo? And also, not everybody will agree with me that tattoos need to have meaning. I get that, and there are people who just want to fill up their body with tattoos, and that's fine too. But then, in that sort of sense, then you have to be really sure that you're okay with that. For first timer, in order to like put them at ease, I try to be really transparent about everything that I'm doing. I talk through the process of like every single step. I think people are scared of the unknown, and so once you know that what is going to be, that's going to be happening, especially, then it kind of relaxes them a little bit more. When a customer comes in to ask about our hygiene standard, I do walk them through the studio to let them see what we have put in place to ensure safety and hygiene. All our stuff is either sterilized or brand new and disposable. And other than that, we also have like the license from the City Council, which kind of prove to a certain extent that our hygiene is up to date. It's quite interesting actually, like having tattooed for over 20 years, to see the progress from when I started to where we are at this current moment in time, with like the technology advancement of like the inks and the fineness of each needle. It allows the skill of artists to also become better, because they are now able to do much more intricate stuff with like and colors that stay on a lot brighter and blacks that are a lot blacker. And that has been amazing to watch. So having done that, seeing the progress in 20 years, and then looking at the progress in like maybe another 20 years with like the advancement of like AI and robotics, it kind of makes me think that at some point there might be a time when tattoos are not done by like human hands anymore. I think that could be a possibility. But then at the same time, I believe that there will still be a place for hand-done tattoos, like artisan tattoos. I love technology, but technology is very cold. There isn't that human warmth involved, and you'll be so sad to then lose the connection that I love with my clients so much, and that my clients love with me, to then kind of go like, well, I'm just gonna see you through Zoom, and I'll scan you a picture if you like that, you like in this machine, and I'll scan it over remotely. And it's like, that is a far cry from what I love tattooing. I think the factor that is most important to me is that there is still that human touch involved with like each and every piece. I believe in growing with the times, and to me it's like growing is the most important thing in a person's life. It's like if you stop growing, then you might as well be dead, really. When I want to do my art, it has to be from me, not from a machine. I still like to do my own art.